Hey guys, welcome to the 140th episode of the Protein Bros podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jeff. Today we sat down with an awesome group of dudes named Mitch and Dan. Mitch and Dan have opened up two gyms in the Kansas City area, one in Lawson, one in Smithville. They just opened up the Smithville location. It's called Apex Fitness Club. It is sick. It is beautiful. Everything is brand new, nice, and it's just, they're a great example of local fitness. You can find out how Dan used to sleep in his car, how he lived with the Amish, how he slept on Mitch's couch trying to get, make ends meet and get things going as far as the business goes. These guys have done some incredible excursions out in Alaska and hunted some of the most incredible, animals you've ever seen, fished for some of the most beautiful fish you've ever seen. Just really interesting, down-to-earth, salt-of-the-earth people that we really want to support, and we hope you guys enjoy their story as much as we did. Let's tune into the podcast. You're in Lawson and you're in Smithville. Lawson was number one, Smithville is number two.
Correct.
Your goal, is it to stop here? Is it to keep going? Do you guys have an initial kind of goal that you're trying to hit?
So we are definitely going to keep going.
Yeah.
A lot of it, with our business model it's more of a rural community thing, but
Who's vibrating?
might be me.
Do not disturb whoever's got it.
But
So it shouldn't be. All right, sorry, keep going.
no, we definitely are going to try to keep growing. A lot of it is the logistics of it. It's finding a place that fits our business model is the biggest roadblock that we run into, I guess.
Sure.
Rural communities, smaller communities, they don't have the infrastructure that we are looking for with the size, I guess, because Lawson is only 4,000 square feet, just a little small for what we like to do.
Sure. What's the number that you guys like?
Right around 7 to 8, anything above that, in between. Yeah, so I'd say 7 to 10,000 is about what our business model
Square feet.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the what kind of gyms did you guys get used for inspiration for the first one in Lawson? Was there any other gyms that you guys looked at, traveled to, etc.?
Not one.
I've been, of course, sports and everything growing up. The gym was it was an avenue for me to just stay sane, I guess, at some points in my life. But I just basically put my business model and talked with Dan about, well, you go to an Anytime or you go to a Genesis. What can we do that is a little bit different than both of those, and still, I guess, get that customer base? So we try to be conducive to, or to have something for everyone, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of Anytimes are all basically just cardio. You have a lot of treadmills, but you don't have any benches, free weights. So we're trying to incorporate all of that for the rural community, I guess.
I love that.
And another huge thing is 95% of the people at the gym I know on a first name basis. I know what they do. I know what their spouses do for work. I know what sports their kids are in. When they come in, I acknowledge them by their first name. We chat for a little bit. And I think that means a lot to the community and the people that go there. So that's a huge thing that we do.
Yeah, you care. I mean,
we actually care about who's there.
You're creating a community.
Yep.
And invested in the community. You guys are, I'm going to say I'll just put it this way. It's not our typical gym owners that we meet where it was like, I was lifting because I loved lifting for so long. And then, everybody was asking me for advice and help. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, I might as well open my own gym. So where did this inspiration start? And I guess it should start all the way back to just how you guys met. Dan, can you tell that story as far as how you and Mitch became friends?
Yeah. So it probably started 15 years ago, but it didn't start as a friendship. Unfortunately, Mitch got in a tussle with a friend of mine.
Oh, no, you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Dan, yeah.
Where were you at? Was it a bar too?
It was a party. It was a country party.
Yeah.
So it was outside.
Yeah.
It was outside, yeah.
I was told different reasons why not to like Mitch. So this was from a friend of mine. I had to believe him.
Yeah.
He goes up to him, confronts Mitch, boom, right hook, drops my friend on the ground. Mitch jumps on him.
I threw the right hook, by the way.
Yeah. So Mitch is on top of him, so I run over there and start kicking Mitch in the head in my cowboy boots.
While I was on the ground.
And that's the first time I ever met Mitch Briegel.
Yeah.
So you met Dan's boot before you met Dan.
Yeah, and so a little bit to that story too is that
you got kicked in the head.
Yeah.
Multiple times?
Multiple times.
His friend was a competitor, so we wrestled each other.
Was he an Allstate agent? Was he a Geico guy?
This State Farm was kind of on the radar at that time, but
Yeah, no, you weren't a State
quite
Farm
there.
agent?
Not
All right.
yet, not yet. I was a little young, but yeah. So his friend that he's talking about, he was also my friend, but we had just wrestled each other. I don't know. I think it was I just graduated, so that previous year I beat him in the finals at districts, and I don't think he ever thought I would do that. So I think there was a little animosity left in that, and that's why we got in that tussle.
So you just had to remind him.
That's right.
Yeah, you sure did too.
Yeah.
2-0. Yeah, dude. No more tussles after that?
None. No,
Nope.
we're still friends to this day. It's just, it's the way it is. We can fight and get over it.
Sure, man. That's very cool. Mitch, you were saying something before we got started. Dan has some humble beginnings. Whenever you asked him, you started working at State Farm, which shout out State Farm. My brother used to work on the advertising side of that.
It's good company.
The Patrick Price and the Rogers rate? My brother wrote those commercials.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he wrote the Super Bowl commercial where it was Drake from State Farm.
Yeah.
He wrote that too.
Good man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So State Farm's where you got started as far as like your career in quotes, like the big job that you're like, all right, this is what I'm going to do to earn a living, to hopefully support maybe a family someday or something.
You bet. Yep.
And you reach out to Dan to say, hey, maybe about getting a job. What was Dan doing?
So he actually reached out to me. Well, no, we were playing golf.
Yep.
And so we had another mutual friend that basically grew up with me because my dad and his mom were together, and he's probably my oldest friend to this day, but we were all playing golf together. And that friend brought Dan to the course. And so we were playing, I don't know where it was at during the round, but Dan approached me during the round of golf and asked if I was still hiring. I'm like, yeah, man, no problem. If you want a job, just, look me up and we'll get it going. And I'm like, after the round's over, I'm like, man, he's never going to contact me. I'm like, no way. And a couple weeks later, he's like, hey, you still hire me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Get your licenses. So at that time, I required and still do, but I required my team members to get licensed in life health and then auto fire. And he had them done in 2 weeks, which is the quickest that I've had anybody do it. I'm like, man, this might work out. The rest is history. He came in, started working, and he's been the best team member that I ever had. So at that point with State Farm.
And at this time are we allowed to share this part? You were living in your car?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You were living in your car.
I was. So I was bouncing around from friend to friend's couch. And I honestly couldn't afford to drive from Gallatin to Overland Park because it was 2 hours one way. And I did that for 3 years. And actually, a year and a half of it was from Trenton.
Yeah.
And Mitch bought a couch, put it in his office, got me a gym membership to Anytime Fitness so I could work out and shower. It was crazy. He's done more for me than anyone in my whole life ever has, and has never asked anything in return. We just everything we do
business.
Yeah, but everything we do together.
Yeah,
There was one time. So I got the nickname. I have a lot of nicknames, but one of them is Dollar Dan.
Yeah.
I called Mitch one time because I went to go get gas, and I put my debit card in, and it was declined. So I got on the app and looked, and I had $1 in my bank account. And I was like, dude, I can't even get home. I have 2 daughters. I was supposed to pick them up, and I was like, man, I can't even get home. He's like, go to the office. I got some cash in there. You can have it. Gave me the cash so I can get home, and has literally done everything for me that no one is ever supposed to do for another person. He is the greatest human I've ever met in my whole life, my absolute best friend, and I can ask him for $100,000 right now, and he wouldn't even ask why. He would give it to me if he knew I genuinely needed it. So
that's a damn good friend to have.
It is.
Yeah,
it is rare. I don't know, growing up, you have a lot of friends, acquaintances, people that people that know you, family, but no one has a Dan and Mitch relationship. And I can guarantee you that.
It's just
Talking shit on us, Fred.
Yeah.
No,
No, and just adding to it, it's not all one-sided in that either, because it's like he scratches my back, I scratch his. Dan has helped my business tremendous amount too, so that you can't just, I guess, let him give me all the credit for what has happened. So it's just one of those relationships that it is rare to find. And it's I I just don't take it for granted, and I'm grateful, So that's what a lot of this, how the gym. So this all stemmed. So the gym stemmed from this. Excuse me. So
totally. And I think it's so cool. When I meet people, I didn't grow up in a rural community. I grew up in a classic suburb neighborhood. I just feel like people that grow up in a rural neighborhood have had to experience what hard work looks like. They've had to experience struggle more so. And I say struggle as in like, not like for me from like a poverty standpoint at all, but more of just like the work needs doing, and it's not up to somebody else to do it, And so it's just awesome to see, those values kind of pour into and how they've helped your businesses as a whole, right? As in like not just State Farm, but with the gyms as well.
Sure.
That Lawson, gym is, you said it's probably around 2 hours away from Overland Park.
It's about an hour. Yep.
Yeah. Only an hour.
Yep.
When you got that far away, what drew you guys to Lawson, and then just where did the inspiration to come from? Just hey, we should start one of these up. Come from?
So, at the time, my State Farm agency was in Overland Park. That's where I originally got hired with State Farm, and I just got tired of all the hustle and bustle of it. And fortunately, Dan and I had been talking about getting out of the city to get somewhere a little bit closer to Gallatin, so we didn't have to drive 2.5 hours.
Totally.
And so. My brother lives in Lawson as well, and I started looking around up there, and I'm like, man, this place is growing like a weed. This would be a perfect place for my agency. So I got a lot bought, and at the time, it was on my mind to open a gym just because I've always been in the fitness world. I mean, it's like I said, it kept me sane for quite a few years of my life, and so it's just one of those things that I wanted to do to have another avenue of income, I guess. Mm-hmm. And so with Dan being my right-hand man, I'm like, man, I'm going to build this building. I was thinking about having tenants in it, having 2 other office spaces. And we talked a little bit. I'm like, what do you think about a gym here? Because there was nothing in Lawson either. And of course, there's only 2,500 people. And I'm like, at the very least, we'll just have a place for us to work out. Mm-hmm. So at the time, it wasn't on our radar to have 550 members, so at that time, it was kind of a shot in the dark to even do it, but we just decided hell with it. And so we did. And that's how the fitness part of our life came about, I guess, as far as owning the gym.
How many people are in Lawson?
About 2,500 is the population.
Roughly. So you got 20% of the population in there.
For sure.
Growing like a weed, 2,500 at the same. What's growing like a weed look like to you, Mitch?
And now, they're building 100 homes there right now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
And also something with that is, like we talked about earlier with the Amish, I worked for the Amish and have been around the Amish my whole life. So I've done construction.
You are
work.
Amish too.
Yeah, he's real close.
Yoder was my last name, but I changed it to Souders just because it was easier to say.
Yeah.
But I can make, build, do anything when it comes to carpentry.
And it ain't going
mostly. He's kind of a cobbler too, though. So don't.
But it'll look good when it's done. I promise.
Okay.
So that was part of it.
A cobbler's a shoemaker, right?
Yeah, basically.
Unbelievable.
But we did everything inside that place. We framed everything out, put all the siding up, painted everything, did every inch of it by ourselves.
How many barns have you raised, Dan?
In total, probably only about 7.
Only 7. 7 more than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Raised 7 barns.
Yeah.
When I showed up in Smithville, because I met you guys a couple of months ago before it was open, and I pulled up. You never kind of know what you're going to get when somebody's opening a gym, right? You got somebody that loves the idea of it, and you got somebody you just never know. And I showed up, Mitch, you're on a ladder grinding something. And I walk in, and Daniel, you're in there like laying flooring or something. And immediately I walked in, I saw you two. You came out like, hey, we're Mitch and Dan. I was like, it's going to work. Like when you build it with your bare hands, there's something about it. And I told you the story about Jeff and Kyle when they moved to Kansas City. It's like, there's a picture on the wall out here. It's a white-walled store.
Yeah.
Like they put the shelves in the wall, and there's something about that.
Crooked as can be.
That's all right. As long as it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good once the product's on it.
Yeah.
And you're putting in the work. I'm like, all right. And I talked to you guys for 5 minutes. I'm like, this is going to work. They're going to be good to go.
Yeah. 6,480 square feet of rubber flooring in there.
And how much did you tell me you were off by?
We may have been off by
quarter inch.
And when you told me that, I was like, all right, they think about this
stuff. But I laid every inch of that I touched. we did.
I laid some by myself.
He touched it with me, but it was mainly he would mark something and then cut it for me.
His lines are crooked when his lines are a little crooked when he starts cutting. So sometimes I got to get my precision involved. But
Understood.
Yeah, it's good teamwork.
A job done, is better than a job that's never finished because they want to be perfect.
Right.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, done is a little bit better than perfect sometimes.
Yeah,
Man, that thing's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah,
Now
that
you got
was
the
early
hex.
on.
The hex lighting is in there now too. It looks really cool. Drop down hex lighting.
Man, you guys did a great job. What was your inspiration as far as the equipment goes? When did you guys decide what equipment pieces to pick for not only Lawson but Smithville? And did anything evolve from Lawson to Smithville as far as mistakes you made at the Lawson gym that you wanted to correct at the Smithville gym?
I don't know if we corrected them, but there's whenever you're new to the game, I feel like you get taken advantage of because you have no idea what you're doing.
You don't know what you don't know.
To whoever doing whatever, trying to figure out whatever. So the first one was a lot of, I wish we would have done this different. I wish we would have done this. I wish we would have had this, just because it was such a spur of the moment. It was literally Mitch elbowing me like, hey, do you want to open a gym? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we didn't even know what we were doing. But whenever we got to this one, it was such an open floor space that it gave us more opportunity to get in pieces that we want, some pieces that we didn't have in the other facility. We have a sauna there. We actually have a shower at this one. So the turf area, that was a thing that we didn't have room for in Lawson, so we wanted in Smithville. But I would say that we have learned a lot. We've learned that patience is a virtue.
Yeah, no doubt.
We've learned that time management is whenever you sign a lease on February 1st and you open March 1st, you have to be there 28 hours a day to make sure everything's done. So hopefully in the future we won't
do that again.
Yeah.
We won't do it
make
in a
it to
month
where
again because it was a lot.
When
was a
you
lot.
say patience, right? Like what lesson stands out that you're like, man, that really taught me to just be patient.
Hey guys, if you've gotten this far, we really appreciate it. And we would hope that if you are here to support local fitness, you support our podcast as well. We don't run any ads. We don't ask for much. We just simply ask you try to support the channel. Please like, subscribe, and share the podcast. And we release every Tuesday at 6 p.m. If you're interested in learning more about some of the best gyms and business owners and people in the fitness community here in Kansas City, please hit the share, like, and subscribe. Let's get back to the episode.
My thing is like time management. I know what needs to be done, and I know what time we have to do it and how to do it. But not everyone works the way that I do with knowing all that. So Mitch could be putting a piece of equipment together, and then he can be up a ladder doing a light, and then he could be over here with a paintbrush because he saw somewhere that he missed some paint and, was doing a little bit of paint there. And in my mind, I'm like, oh gosh, we got 18 projects going at once, and it just stresses me out to no end.
He's not a multitasker. If we are going to start laying floor, Dan's like, oh, we got to get all this floor done right now.
Mm-hmm. And I feel the same way.
Yeah. And, it's just the way that I've always been.
Once you start it, you got to finish it before you can move on to the next thing.
Because I have a terrible memory. Like, if I don't finish that floor, we might open and the last strip will be missing. I'm like, what the heck happened there?
Who didn't finish that floor? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't finish that floor.
And so, like Dan's patience, it's like he gets his anxiety all stirred up, but I'm like, Dan, we'll get this done. So don't worry too much, whether it's the flooring or whatever it is. I'm like, we just take a step at a time and we'll have it done in a month. And it was, like I said, it was a tall order, no doubt. But that's what he was saying about being patient. It'll, as long as you keep working, like you were saying, it'll come. Having a list, tasks, how all that stuff goes, checking it off on a daily basis. And that's, as far as patience goes, you just got to follow that, get your list and get your tasks checked off on a daily basis and everything will work out.
This gym has changed a lot for me because there was a lot of stuff out of my control. When the equipment arrived, when the flooring arrived. Electrician. That's stuff that I have no control over. But whenever it does arrive, it's just like, okay, we're in go mode. I need you to be doing all of this. We need this done tonight. I need you over here. Why did you show up at 4:00 when you could have been here at 7 this morning? Sometimes I'm a hard ass whenever it comes to work because my work ethic is the greatest thing about me. And I don't ever toot my own horn, but I am a worker. And I guess I expect everyone to work as hard as I do or know as much as I do about the construction world. And it's not always like that. So that's why I think with the patience on this gym, I've learned a lot just from the multiple people that we've had helping us. Versus on the first one, it was just Mitch and I.
Yeah, I always say when you open a business, you find out what other businesses you need to open, because every time you try to open a business, everybody you call doesn't have any urgency.
No,
There is none. Unbelievable. You're like, I mean, just something as simple as trying to get the internet come out. Oh, we'll be out there in 3 weeks. It's like, well, I mean, what?
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks.
We open in 4 days.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, sometimes, dude, they'll
Yeah.
they'll say 2 months, 3 months. You're like, what are we talking about? Like, there is a box out here. You're not running, you're not going underground. Like,
Right.
We're just hooking it up. This is a 1 day deal.
Yeah, flip the switch, man.
You know
We'll
what I mean?
pay the bill.
Yeah, so it's wildly frustrating. I mean, between calling to get a phone hooked up or internet hooked up or getting a sign for the front of the building, it's like nobody's in a hurry to earn your business. It seems like.
Yeah, man, the sense of urgency seems to have disappeared. That's like I was telling Dan. It's like a lot of times you got to put yourself in those guys' shoes too, because they're probably working on 50 other projects and they're trying to get to everybody. And so I guess it's just prioritizing, setting guys in line who really need this done now and the ones that don't and so forth. But I agree with the urgency. It seems to just have disappeared.
Yeah, when you're on the construction side of things, sure, there's projects that need to get done and everybody's working. But it's wild to me. I mean, one time I tried to get a car interior done, where I had to redo my interior. I got an old classic Bronco, 75 Bronco that I wanted to have the interior done. And he's like, yeah, I'll have it ready for you in 3 weeks. And I said, that's fine. That seems fair. Totally fair. I drop off my vehicle and it's like, these are summer months. These are the months I'd want to be driving this car.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm like, this is a lot, 3 weeks to not have it. So I go out of my way and drop it off, have someone, follow me up there, take me home. And I call him up, 2 weeks in and just said like, hey, just want to make sure we're still good for me to come pick it up here at the end of next week. He's like, I haven't even started on it, man. I was like, what? Yeah. I'm like, what do you mean? You told me 3 weeks. He's like, I'm doing all I can, I was like, well, I called on Saturday. No one was there. And he's like, just sat there in silence. I was like, you just said you were doing all you could.
Wrong.
And then he said, well, a big insurance job called and they needed to get, all of these done. And I was like, wait a second. So you just hopped to somebody else's, project over mine just because it was a bigger job? I said, I'm going to come get my car right now. Yep. Like, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, dude, do nothing with my car. I'll never forget that, man. I was just like so beside myself that somebody would just tell me one thing and do another and not even tell me about it.
Yeah, it happens a lot, man. It does.
You guys are outdoorsmen as well.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen some extravagant, as in like, I will call them extravagant, but just some bucket list type looking hunting trips up in Alaska. How did you guys get called out to Alaska, basically flying over a million other places you could hunt? What made you guys pick Alaska?
So I actually lived there in 2011 for a few months.
How old were you, Mitch?
22.
22 years old in Alaska. How cool.
Yeah, and so I didn't spend a whole lot of time up there, and I didn't really get to do anything because I was working for a State Farm agent at the time, and I didn't have a car. I was literally borrowed his car and was driving around Anchorage, Alaska. But I didn't have any money because rent up there at that time, I think I was paying $2,000 a month, and that literally took half of my paycheck. So I lived up there, and I always liked it. Of course, being an outdoorsman, I grew up hunting, fishing, so did he. But it's just one of those places. Once you go, it's just beautiful, and you can't get enough of it, or at least I can't. And so those trips basically stemmed from, I went up one year. Well, you were there too. We were all
the
there.
very first one, yep.
And we didn't even know our buddy that is up there now that charters it. But we went halibut fishing. And so our now friend Aaron, he was our captain. And
sick.
At that time, that was actually on the White River in Arkansas.
That's a great hat.
I still have
he
it.
wears it.
That's a great
So
hat.
what was that?
Indiana Jones, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ptarmigan. I shot this ptarmigan when we were in Alaska. And if you don't know what a ptarmigan is, it's a white bird. Yeah. I shot it.
Watch a lot of outdoor boys.
And whenever I shot it, it was like, poof. and just explode. It was probably from me to the S2 sign.
Yeah, they're shooting with 22s typically. You guys were shooting what? Was it like a 308 round or something?
pretty big.
Yeah, it was something
so
like
Like
that.
that Randy Johnson fastball.
Yes.
Bird hit it.
So feathers flew everywhere, and Mitch got a couple of them, cleaned the blood off of them, and now he wears them in his hat.
Yeah,
That same hat.
Yeah.
He's got the ptarmigan feathers in it.
Heck yeah, dude.
For sure.
But yeah, so you guys now you got some contacts up there, people you've met along the way, and now you got some people to guide you along the way.
Yeah, one of our absolute best friends, Aaron Mahoney. He has some charter boats up there, and
Was he a Missouri guy or was he up in
No,
Alaska?
so-
when you
born
met
and
him?
raised up there.
That's what I was going to say is that we just chartered a
Dude.
halibut trip.
You just set yourself inside of a landscape photo right there. That's
Yeah.
crazy, dude. Zoom back out of that, Luke. I mean, that's what I want to see is that landscape, dude. Is that summertime in Alaska?
That's actually in Wyoming,
Oh man, I was gonna say
That's in the Bighorn
kind
Mountains
of a
there.
Tetons area.
close to
No?
it. Yeah.
Yeah. My gosh, dude. I did a couple of trips to Montana and like there's just nothing. Sometimes you wonder, like, I didn't even know that was in the United States. That you could find that kind of beauty,
Oh yeah.
in the continental US.
Yeah. So like I was saying about Aaron, we just chartered a trip with him when we were halibut fishing, and that's how we met him. And I just knew that he was going to be our friend. It's just one of those guys you run into, and that you're going to like him, and that's the rest of its history. So
Yeah, he comes down here every year. He was down in February for his birthday. Never been to Nashville, so that's why we were gone the 4 days of February. Is we went to Nashville with him for his birthday.
Yeah.
So I mean,
How old was he turning?
41.
41.
Oh man.
Yeah,
so he's making a count.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than us, but I mean, as far as
Well, he may
know,
listen to
friends
this. It was either 40 or 41.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
he's one of our absolute best friends. We go up there. He loves my wife to death. Always wants her to come up. The last time that we went up there, we took our spouses with us, and my wife just slayed the fish on the boat. I mean, she caught more than everyone. So that'll probably be the last time I take her fishing with us. But it was a fun trip.
She's stealing all the good catches.
Yeah.
You guys get to keep them too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I probably
Cook
have
'em up?
100 pounds of halibut in my fridge.
Wow.
Yep.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah, we both do. And we usually, a lot of times we catch salmon or something while we're up there too before we go out with Aaron, but we always bring back fresh fish.
If you get a chance to roll through those pictures on my Instagram, there's me holding looks like a giant goldfish. It's called a yellow eye. And ever since we started going up there for the 5 years, this past 5 years, it's the fish that I've wanted to catch. So last year, whenever we were up there in November hunting, we were fishing. Everyone was catching fish but me.
Is this it? Go ahead. I'll throw up your Instagram. This is Dan's Instagram.
Yep. So if you go to the one with the wolf, I think, or the fox, there's some pictures. There should be more pictures than just one. There you go.
Oh,
so that's called a yellow eye.
Gosh, the red one?
Yeah. So
it's called a yellow eye?
It is. It's actually really bright yellow.
That is amazing, dude.
So
eye is, yeah.
Aaron was giving me BS about not catching any fish. And I was like, dude, I'll catch some. So it was on the fish on the left is a cod. So I was like, I'll start catching fish. So I caught 3 cod, boom, 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 in 3 casts.
Look at those on the ground too.
And I was like, you know what? I'll catch a yellow eye too. Cast it out. Next cast, I caught that fish.
I can
and it was-
attest to that. Dude.
yep.
You did say that. And, that was
And it was
the
like
fish
the
was
shot.
wild.
Yep.
Yeah.
Called it.
It was wild.
Babe roofed it and did it. There it
There
is.
you go.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah.
And your shoulders must have been burning from that photo.
Oh, dude.
That thing is incredible, dude.
Those
They
are
are
all of
cool
our deer
fish,
in the
yeah.
background.
What's there on the back?
The deer, like the quarters off of the deer that we all killed. There's some antlers down there.
Holy heck, man. What a day. Is that a week-long trip? Is that a few-day trip?
Week, yep.
Man, we got to do that.
How much
So-
does that fish weigh? 25 pounds?
Pretty close to it.
Yeah, I would say so. Those are some of those ducks I was telling you about where we
Yeah.
just sat on the bank. Right there in that grass is where we sat all day long.
You didn't have to duck and cover, nothing?
No.
12-pack shotgun. And
Yeah,
that's a
that's
good
it.
day.
man.
I mean, that's pretty accurate, yeah.
My gosh, dude. That's just a dream, man. That sounds awesome.
It's pretty awesome up there.
I'm being selfish with the podcast, getting about hunting, but man, that just looks like the best time.
Hey, we got the hookup if you ever want to go.
Watch this
Yeah,
video.
man.
Careful.
I
Oh,
recorded
dude,
this.
I 100% want to do it. Oh, so awesome.
Yeah, so literally, if you want to go, we got the
America.
hookup
Yeah. I mean, it's just a matter of when, not if.
for sure.
Man, Man, that's just so cool. So back to the gyms.
Yeah, sorry.
No. That's just selfish. What I want to talk about. Kyle's gonna be so upset that he wasn't here for this one because this is right up his alley. But talking about Smithville Gym, you guys have been open for a month or so now, right? What's the temperature on it so far? Are you guys happy with things, how they're going? Are you guys wanting more members? Is it cash flowing for you yet? What do we got to do to help?
We definitely, I mean, it's going smooth. It is actually
better than I anticipated.
Yeah, it's running about like we were thinking, a little bit better. But like I said, we're always wanting more members. So we have the space for it now we can handle a good lot. So it's always, I guess the marketing is just a little bit, I mean, it's not tedious. It's just trying to get it in front of the right people, I guess.
Sure.
And
what are you guys doing now?
The eyes. We do a lot. I do some, usually just Facebook promotions on Facebook. We haven't really been in any apartment complexes or anything around there yet, but I'm just kind of, like you said, testing the temperature of what's working and what's not. And hopefully word of mouth helps us out a lot too, because I know that's what happened with Lawson.
Yep.
So
yeah, it was crazy because we did zero advertising whatsoever for Lawson. It was just everyone was like, hey man, this is a gym out in the middle of nowhere and they have everything. Come try it out. And it's $32 a month for a membership. And it just turned into one of those things where, like, we have people sign up from Cameron, 30 minutes away.
Heck yeah.
Liberty, 30 minutes away.
Yep.
You know, people coming to our gym out in the middle of nowhere. You know, so that's a good feeling in itself. But it was all word of mouth.
Smithville, there's not much out there as far as gyms go. It's tough.
anytime, the North Oak, I mean, OG's 15 minutes, but I think that the traffic in Smithville and the population, because it's almost 3 times the size of Lawson. And I always say it's just a matter of time, but as long as, like you guys say, as long as we're there and keep, having a good, clean facility and good equipment.
That's what it looks like now.
Yeah, there you
Minus the dirty floor over there because it's been mopped.
Dan, you got to get
Who
to
did that?
mopping.
That's you. You did that
I
picture.
wasn't either.
I think it looks great. I think it looks clean as hell.
But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it's beautiful.
That's awesome.
Man, so happy for you guys. Something that, a lot of people dream about doing, and you guys are already on your second one and thinking about a third. And just want to say how psyched we are for you guys and hope that, we can do whatever we can to help you guys grow.
And that's another thing. I mean, I don't know how to say it, but all the guys from S2, Scott, man, that dude came up there one night at 10 o'clock at night and asked what we could do the night before we opened. I said, man, I just need this floor mopped. He grabbed that mopped the whole floor, didn't say a word, just kept mopping, wiping the equipment down. Sam, he came up. Isaiah, he came up. Both those guys wiped equipment, unboxed plates, put them on the racks, and never asked for nothing. Just came up there to help us, just to help. So,
yeah,
you run a great ship, man, and the guys that and girls, they're top notch.
Oh man, that's sincerely appreciate. A lot of it, the credit goes to the guy to my left here, Freddie here, and then also obviously we got Luke. But I'm saying that our team, before we hire them, is simply wanting to know, do you genuinely care about helping others, or is this like a fun fitness job for you? Because it stops being fun real quick when it's just about fitness, and so.
Sure.
Sadly, Isaiah, Sam are no longer with us. They're doing something else, but they're not helping people. They're always helping. Right. And so at the core of who those guys are, including Scott, especially Scott, it's about just, connecting with others and genuinely pouring into your community the way that you'd want people to pour into you.
He's great at it too. Scott is, he's top notch. He's very good at it. And that's like you said, a lot of that business model with our gym too is the same aspect of just helping people that maybe they don't want to spend $75 a month and sign an annual contract and whatever. So we give them all the options we can to basically, if they want to stay fit or if they just want to go have camaraderie, Dan's there all the time. And a lot of people look at him as a salesman and someone that talks to everybody all the time. I'm typically there and I work out and people think I'm an asshole and I'm really not, but I'm just there to get my workout in,
Yeah.
So, but
you'll find really quick it's tough to get anything done at your own business.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. People want to talk and all that stuff, and it's great, and that's what we're all about too, because we both come from humble beginnings. Dan lived in his car, so that's humble beginnings.
On the couch at the State Farm.
Yeah, exactly. Neither one of us, it's not a golden spoon didn't get us to where we are. And so we worked, just like you say, our heart and soul went into both of those places. You get a little bit better with Smithville, but you learn from your mistakes, and that's kind of what it's all about.
I couldn't agree more. Fred, you got anything to add to that?
No, it's just, the only thing I would say is I knew from meeting you guys for 10 or 15 minutes a couple of weeks ago, like, it's just who you are, and I'd say the same thing about Scott, Sam, and Isaiah, like, they'd help you if you just met them on the street.
Yep.
It's not like something they're doing just because they work for us too. We try and hire those people that they're just doing the right thing, and we spent time with you guys. And like I said, I walked up and immediately met you guys and saw what you were doing and how you were doing it and how you go about carrying yourself. And it's good to go.
Yeah, well, that's what I told Dan, when we met you. I'm like, yeah, S2's doing something right, because those guys seem pretty genuine. And everybody that I've met from your business has been very genuine. And I think that is that's important, and it's kind of rare anymore.
Yeah, in this day and age, everyone wants to say and do good things for you when they're in your face, but it's not always like that. So to have people that work for you and represent your brand that I know that I can say whatever I want to ask help for, and they're right there with any questions to answer, any help whatsoever, it's just to me, it's a good friendship and relationship, because they're always about what can we do to help you.
Yeah, man. And that's the community is not just a word. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There's a give and take, and it's just, hey, who has the space or the bandwidth to pour into others, and we try to keep our guys taking care of themselves on an individual basis, to where when they meet someone, they're not losing that opportunity. And so one of the biggest things we said this year is the growth of our company is going to come directly with the growth of the individuals that work for us. And if you are going through something on an individual level and you're having a hard time with it, well, you got to button your own shit up, because if you don't, now you're not going to have any space to see the opportunities to help others, because you're lost in your own stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I can, articulate the best. I'm articulating that the best, but if you do not take care of yourself, you can't serve others. So serve yourself first. And so we really try to preach that into our team and make sure that that's how they're living, because the opportunity to grow and help is always there. You just got to make sure that you're making the space for it. And so I'm happy to hear that they were able to do that for you guys, and that's something that we're trying to do, moving forward as we grow.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, the feelings mutual.
And one last thing is, like, the gym for me is because of the struggles that I have went through and go through on the daily basis. It's not me going there to get huge. I don't go there to, bench the most weight. I go there for my mental health. You get Mary that just had a baby and she needs somewhere to go to work out to deal with her problems, have that 1 hour of her time.
Serving herself, yeah.
Apex Fitness is where we welcome that. Or Tommy that just got home from a deployment and he's going through his problems. Apex Fitness is where we want him to come. Mm-hmm. The same with everyone. It's a lot of people are intimidated by the gym scene because they think it's huge guys in there lifting heavy weights or the most beautiful women with six-pack abs. But in reality, that's not what the gym is necessarily for us. We want this to be a place for everyone to come. The family-oriented, like we said earlier, I know what you do for work. I know where your kids, what sports they're in, and we want all of them in there. So the mental health aspect of a gym is just as important to me and probably everyone as the weightlifting aspect of it.
Sure. Yeah, man, there's just becomes a time where the time that you do to take care of yourself is no longer about the vanity.
Yep.
Right. And, for me, that age was probably around like 32, 33. But before then, it was like I'm only going to get in shape just so I could achieve this look, which, the consistency isn't there. You know what I mean? It's just like a big up and a big down. Everybody's always all or nothing. And, I think there's anything that we can be a positive force for change in our fitness community here in the Kansas City area is try to turn it into that lifestyle, right? And celebrate the wins that people are having, like someone coming home from a deployment or having a child.
Exactly.
And still taking the time to take care of themselves. And so, I think what you guys are doing is admirable. I think that it's the change that the fitness industry needs so we can get rid of that intimidation, if you will, and make it a more welcoming space. And so we appreciate you guys being that positive force.
Well, we appreciate you having us. This is
a
good time, and if you ever want to have us on here to talk about hunting and fishing only, we're free to do that.
That's separate. Yeah, the Hunting Bros podcast is next.
Yes.
Yeah. Kyle's gonna be pissed. Last question. I got 2 questions for you actually. One that we always do with every guest, but one I want to ask. I'm going to ask this to Dan, but I want Mitch to answer. I want you to give me 3 more of your nicknames, and I want to have Mitch try to guess why you were called that.
Do we have to be politically correct?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so one of them.
No. Dan, what's your nicknames? Give me 3. He's going to have to tell me what they mean, but you're going to tell me.
BBD.
BBD.
Big Dick Dan.
Yeah, BDD. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's Dollar Dan.
We already know that dollar.
Yeah.
Yoder? Just joking.
That gets thrown around, but not as much.
Because now it's Souders.
Yeah. I changed my name. back
DD. Dirty Dan.
Oh, Dirty Dan. Yes. I forgot about that. That's a big one, too. His brother calls me that all the time. Those are probably the 3.
And now you got another one. Damn Daniel.
Damn Daniel.
Guys, if
Damn
you're listening,
Daniel.
if you don't know Damn Daniel, he didn't know it. Daniel had never been told Damn Daniel before. One of the greatest, I think, it was like a Vine. Was it a Vine, Luke?
Vine.
A Vine.
One close
Dating
to
myself.
that. So we have one too. That's where we were talking about FYD.
Yeah.
That Aaron was talking. So if you see a FYD sticker and it has anything to do with him, it's fuck you, Dan.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. There's so many. I can't keep up on all of them.
That's great. The other question we have always is, we're a Kansas City-based podcast, and everybody here has an opinion on barbecue. What's the best barbecue in Kansas City?
For me, I have to go Arthur Bryant's just because it's old school and dirty. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I like Slaps.
Yeah, man. Slabs is awesome. Those are both honorable choices. I feel like the Arthur Bryant's, you're explaining it, correctly. It's about the experience there.
Yeah.
And it more is about the bite of food.
Right.
Because I'm like, on the food.
That's a lot of people say Q39 too, and I'm not a huge fan of Q39.
It's a little buttoned up.
Yeah.
Is it the food that you're not a fan of? Because it's so
Dude,
good.
I was going to say,
the food is so
he
good.
likes it
I
too.
would pick their food over Arthur Bryant's 100%. I just like the Arthur Bryant's experience.
I'm with you.
You're in there and they're wiping their heads like this, getting the sweat off, and
Yeah.
This is where he
no
gets his
gloves
nickname,
and-
Dirty Dan.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'd eat that all
Well, yeah,
day.
you're Amish. Makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah, dude. They're yelling at you. What do you want?
What's the Hankel doing?
Yeah.
I do think that Arthur Bryant's has the best brisket though.
Oh man, I gotta give it another shot. Honestly, it's because I live downtown. I can get there's a great place called Wolfpack Barbecue that just opened up. Give it a shot if you haven't. It's awesome. I think the best burn ends in Kansas City. That's like in walking distance to my house. I got Slaps within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We got Gates within 5 minutes. Arthur Bryant's within 5 minutes. I got Jack Stack within 5 minutes.
I do like
pretty
Jack
spoiled
Stack too. I forget about that.
Yeah, we get a lot. The most answer, I don't know, Fred, what do you think? What's the most, I'd say, based on our answers from our guests, what is the most popular? It's got to be
I would say Jack Stack.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Jack Stack wins, I think, because they're most consistent.
What's what's it called? They have a royal rib or something. I don't know. Maybe I could be way off, but they have a rib. It's like
Or Joe's. Casey Joe's is
maybe that's it.
Pretty popular.
But one of them has an absolute.
Is it a prime rib?
It's actually just ribs.
Okay.
If I had one of my buddies, he's always gung ho for it, but I can't remember what it's called.
Man, yeah, ribs, we like Casey Joe's for ribs. They're the shit.
Yeah.
So, anyways, guys, we really appreciate your time today. It was awesome getting some quality time with you, and we're very excited about Apex. And if you guys are listening, make sure to go check them out. Where can they find you?
Smithville and Lawson. Smithville Mo, Lawson Mo.
That's easy. And then give us some shout out to your website or Instagram, something like that, if they can find you there.
ApexFitnessClubs.com, and then Instagram is Apex Fitness Clubs.
No underscores or spaces or anything like that?
Nope.
Cool. Easy enough, man.
I'm in Lawson 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Smithville. He's in Smithville.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then usually on Saturday and Sunday too. So 7 days a week, you can probably catch me there.
Sounds good, man. Such a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
guys.
y'all. Yep.
Sweet.
Thank you guys for making it to the end. That is the end of our podcast this week. We hope you'll tune in next Tuesday at 6 p.m. when we release our next episode. And as always, we really appreciate all the support. And go ahead and like and subscribe and share if you haven't already. And if there's anybody you think we need to bring on the podcast, or maybe a protein review that we haven't tried yet, make sure to include those in the comments. Thanks, guys.